All right, guys, man, I'm back in the building, man. Back in the building. Vigilante, rapper Vigilante in the building. Also, we're talking to Dr. Christy Culpepper Walker in the building, licensed clinical psychologist. Thank you once again for joining us, Dr. Walker. How you doing? Back in the building.
Good.
Hey,
Doing
man, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Hey, we left off. We were talking about. We basically talking about the difference between kids and grown-ups, how they manage their depression and the symptoms, how they look different for others, and you gave us a lot to chew on. Um, One of the things that been puzzling me, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask, because it's Christmas, man, it's the holiday time. You know, you know, have you noticed any difference in depression during the holiday season? Are there a difference? You know,
Definitely. We see it a lot more around this time of year. And that's for a number of reasons, right? One is because it's cold outside. It gets darker earlier, right? So we're not out, we're not getting sun. And so there's a thing called seasonal affective disorder or
yes,
SAD, right? And so that happens certain times of year because, serotonin in our body, that's one thing that helps regulate whether or not we have depression. Serotonin is down, we're not
yes,
getting out, we're not moving the same. And so that's one reason, right? Just
hmm
the
hmm
environment is one reason. But another reason, when the holidays come around, people want to be with folks they love and folks that love them. And everybody doesn't have that. And every time you look around, you see a movie, you see a commercial, you see a show, people posting on Facebook, they go into holiday parties, they're
wow,
at each other's homes, right? And so, because of that, Mike, we talked about this. I do a Facebook live once a week.
yes.
And so I titled it for the holiday season, What Do the Lonely Do at Christmas?
Mm.
Right.
What do the lonely do?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm young, but I'm old. So
You
that's
old,
one.
you old, you young, but you got a little old spirit about you, girl.
Right. I'm a low spirit. So that's one of my favorite songs. But it really kind of describes what we see, right? People are
Right,
lonely
right.
for a number of reasons. They're lonely because of failed relationships. Some people are single and don't want to be single. Some people have lost loved ones, right? Whether that's traditional grief and loss, or tragic or traumatic grief and loss. And so people are dealing with a lot of things. And even if you lost a loved one, let's say a few years ago, around the holidays, those would be times where you would have spent with those folks, right? And
Yes,
so it
yes,
comes up, we feel it a little bit more when these types of celebrations come around because it reminds us that we don't have those folks.
yeah, yeah. Man, you mentioned something that was very, very insightful too. Is how seasons affect the mental health. You
Hmm.
know, um, being being in closed rooms, dark rooms. Uh, I remember coming to Birmingham, and I I was wondering why I was feeling a certain way during the wintertime, because coming from a tropical place like Florida is very different when you come to a place like Alabama. Because Jay, I don't know, like if you're here long enough, and you might not really notice it if you're passing through or you here for a couple of days. But if you living in Birmingham, even in the South, like Birmingham, maybe Georgia too, you got long period of days where things are gray.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, like at home, you're gonna see a lot of sunshine. Even when it's cold, you're gonna see the sun. But you got a period of days, man, where things are just gray, you know, and it makes you feel bad, man. It makes you think. It makes you start to say, man, this don't feel right, So yeah, so
That's crazy that you said it because the first time I ever heard of that, and I think I was like 20 some years old, but the first time I ever heard of
that
seasonal
was yesterday.
depression, yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah,
But I heard of seasonal depression, and this is the first time I was going to New York, and I was talking to people over in New York, and I was like, "Man, how does it to feel like to live in New York?" And it was like, during this time it's good, but then they're like, but during the winter times, it's like, man, you could get depressed real quick. I said, "Why depressed?" He said, "Because it's cold, everything is
Yeah.
dark, and you mostly inside. And God forbid if you don't have a girlfriend or you don't got no spouse and everything, or you don't got nobody that you talk to on a regular, it's
right,
gonna get
right,
real depressing." But for somebody to tell me that
Mhm.
ahead of time that it could get like that, that shocked me about seasonal depression. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
for her to go ahead and say what she said is so true to the fact. So when you look over in Alaska,
Yep.
they got 6 months of just darkness. So
Right.
imagine 6 months of darkness. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? People started getting insomnia and stuff like that. So it's it's true. It's real.
Yeah.
Now, now, so what can people do to help themselves
Yeah.
during this time?
So one with the holidays, right? We want to set boundaries. We want to make sure we have good boundaries. If you aren't feeling well and you need to hang out with one friend versus another one, or going to this person's house for dinner not going to be good for your mental health, you got to set boundaries and say, look, I'm not going to be able to make it. Right?
Right.
I'll catch y'all next time.
Hmm, hmm.
Right? If you need something, don't be afraid to reach out and ask. So,
Mm.
y'all, I'm not doing well today. Can somebody come? Let's go shopping,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
somebody come in and hang out with me today. A lot
hmm,
of times we don't like to be vulnerable
yeah, yeah,
because we're not vulnerable. We'll, like we were saying about DJ Twitch, maybe because I don't know him, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe he was managing his impression and making it seem a certain way, even with the people close to him,
Right.
and maybe they didn't even know that he needed the help that he needed.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh man, now
yeah.
she even says that. You ever you ever notice that with some people, it's almost not that you putting on, but you put on a certain type of, not saying you being fake.
Hmm.
You can't completely be yourself with. It's
Yeah.
very
Right.
few people in life I could be myself with, so I don't have to put on for nothing. Because a person might come to me depressed, and whatever problems going on in my life, it doesn't matter at that time. So I will shut that off to
Hmm.
appease them. And do you think sometimes people get tired of putting on and they don't go to that safe place around people to say, man, this is what's going on. I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling like that, to vent and just be real. I'm having
Yeah.
a bad day. I
Yeah.
feel like
You're
ripping
allowed to say
down.
that.
Yeah, and it's okay. Like, do you think people suffer from just
Oh,
like expressing how they are?
exactly, right? So we see that, and I tell folks that's why I like to work with kids and adolescents a lot. Like I worked with adults and they cool, but if you can catch kids before they learn how to do what you just said, because they learn that from us,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So kids will be honest with you to a fault, even if it hurts your feelings,
Hmm,
right?
hmm.
They'll
Mm,
tell you what's going on. They'll take all the time, all the attention that they need, right? And we call it self-centered, but they but they get what they need until they get to a place where they learn this type of management of their impression. And so now, oh, okay, there's somebody that care about me, but I ain't gonna say nothing, or I don't
mm,
want to bring nobody else down, or oh, they just might be tolerating me, they might not actually care about me. So let me not say too much. Let me not make too much noise. And then we
Mm.
be sitting here suffering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, um, being proactive rather than reactive. You know,
Yeah.
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 Being
And
proactive.
somebody said it in the comments too, be aware of your triggers, right? So no, like that's going back to setting your boundaries. If
Yeah.
you know certain things are triggers, if you know scrolling social media on Christmas is a trigger for you, if that's going to send you into a spiral, don't do that.
Right. Right.
Right? Mother's
Yeah.
Day, Father's Day, my mom and my dad are deceased. I don't
Yeah.
scroll on social media on Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a smart thing to do. You know. Yeah.
And it's crazy that you said that. I have a friend whose mother and father did pass, and it's like it's almost that it's an unwritten rule that I know not to contact them around that time, but I'll
Mm,
contact them saying, "Hey, man, I'm just checking in on you. How you see how you
yep.
feeling? Let you know somebody thinking about you."
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I do it in an indirect way
Yeah.
because I've seen how he might not take it to heart, but it puts him back in that space of when he did lose his family and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So he stays as a hermit crab. But even when he's as a hermit crab, I make sure I check on him. So
Yeah.
I do believe in just sometimes dropping notes to people. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. Hey, I love you. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking about you. That's all I want to let you know. Somebody thinking about you.
That's awareness, Jay. That's what
Yeah.
that is. Having that self awareness, and also understanding what someone is maybe going through.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, and
Right.
not crossing those boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Christie, how Dr. CC, I'm gonna call you Dr. CC. I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Dr. CC, how can or what can people do to help others? You know, like what can
Yeah.
they do? We talk, yeah.
So starting like with what Jay just said, right? So just dropping a line, letting people know that you're there, letting people know that you care about them. And also, because I saw this a lot around the time DJ Twitch passed away, right? People
Yeah.
were saying, check on your strong friends, check on, your friends that seem like they got it all together. Definitely do that. Be a good friend, check on them.
Uh,
Also know when you see something that might be outside of what you can handle, try to help that person get some more help. So checking on folks is great, but if people are confiding you that they're having suicidal ideation, they need to see someone that's trained to deal with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? Because we can
You know,
tell
it's
folks,
just,
yeah, we can tell folks we love them, and that's great, and they might hear you right in that moment. But if those thoughts are persisting, they need somebody to help them make sure that those thoughts go away.
yeah.
And so I,
Go
I
ahead. I'm
don't
sorry.
I don't think people like to think that we can keep stuff in house, especially in our communities, and we can handle it and we don't have to do extra stuff about it. Is nothing wrong with getting professional help. Is nothing
Absolutely.
wrong with saying, "Hey, I love you enough to say you probably need to go see somebody."
Yeah. What resources available for people who struggling?
Definitely. So we have the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline number. So that's the 988. Instead of dialing 911, you would dial 988. If
Okay.
you want to go on the website, it's 988lifeline.org. 988lifeline.org. And I saw some comments where people were saying, hey, do you know how folks can help us in Texas or in Alabama? The best place, if you're talking about kids, because some of the comments were about kids,
Okay.
and really for adults too, the best place to start if you don't have any connection to like mental health providers, start with your primary care physician.
Mm,
If it's for a kid, start with their pediatrician
mm.
because those folks are going to have connections to the mental health field. They're going to either be able to send you to somebody, refer you, or
Yeah.
help you get connected with services. You can I always tell people, look for somebody licensed when you're going in to look for help. So that can be a psychologist, a counselor, a social worker. There are a lot of different names and a lot of different occupations that do this type of work.
Right.
Just
Right.
make sure that you are working with somebody that's trained to do this type of work.
Definitely. Definitely. Now, before I let you go, man, give people your contact information and how they can follow you, how they can be a part of your speaking engagements that happen once.
Yeah. Definitely. So you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter at Heart in Soul MH. That's HEART, the letter N, Soul SOUL, the letter M, the letter H. Heart and Soul MH. You can also reach out to me on my website. It's www.heartandsoulmh.com.
And Dr. CC, when you come back next time, we're going to talk about your business and your platform and how you help people and in general, just your business.
Okay.
I mean, y'all give a big welcome to Dr. CC, Dr. Christy
Absolutely.
Culpepper Walker, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I definitely want to say about Dr. CC. When I first seen her before I even met her, which I didn't tell you, but
Hmm.
you had this and you have this incredible aura about you that is like I could talk to you.
No, thank
I
you.
could talk to you, and I truly believe that is your God-given gift because only a few people have that. And I know, I know only a few people that people will go ahead and they will vent to you, and you have that disposition about you, you have that aura about you, you have that spirit about you. So I want to just thank you for how God created you and you for being you.
Well, thank
Amen.
you. Thank you,
Amen.
Jay. Yeah, and I appreciate that. That's my prayer, is that I am able to help folks and people feel comfortable enough to allow me. Because people and Mike, I know we running over time. Well,
No, go
like
ahead. You good.
people have to allow you to help them. Right. So they have to feel safe enough. And sometimes that's you making sure that the environment is safe. But sometimes that's just folks kind of letting their walls down and being vulnerable enough for you to be able to help them.
Mm.
And you know what, Dr. CC, I want to say this too. I mean, like, God gave you a gift, and He gave you uh, the education to go along with the gift that you have. So you've been that person. It's just great to see people find themselves and find their calling and be able to connect and marry the two. You know, so it's a blessing. So, like Jay said, you always been someone that was easygoing, very encouraging. I ain't never heard a negative word come out your mouth since I know you, and it just God gave you that gift, and it's just a blessing to see you work with it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, all praise go to him.
Hey, if somebody got a negative comment to say about her, I want to know how much and who paid them to say it.
Right.
Hey,
How much? How much did
hey.
it cost?
So guys, man, hey, we love Dr. CC. We're gonna have her on the
Yeah.
show multiple times, and we're gonna talk with her again. And I want people to know how they can follow her, help her, grow her business. That's what we're about. We want to grow our business, and we want to be beacons, and we want to be pillars in our community, and help people along the way. That's it. Much love, Dr. CC.
All right. Thank y'all.
Appreciate that.
All right, man. Again, man, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, man, we're gonna come back with some more of this real entertainment radio, real talk with Mike Steele, and we're gonna keep it real. And the phone line is gonna be open too, man. 205-430-4300 is the show number. Y'all call us up, drop some lines on us. How you coping with the holidays? What are you doing? Hey, get at us ASAP. This is Real Talk.